The movie starts with a narration by a shape-shifting fairy named Ashlang, detailing how she lived in many forms and seen life through different eyes, and how she's seen suffering while Northmen have destroyed Ireland in search of gold. She also goes on to talk about how she saw beauty in the most fragile of places, finally declaring that she has seen the book that turns darkness into light. In the next scene, young Brendan chases a goose all around the ground of the Abbey of Kells, causing mayhem with the help of his brothers of the Abbey. As they finally manage to catch it to pluck its feathers to make a quill pen, and they're shocked to see the Abbot of Kells, Abbot Kayla, who's also Brendan's uncle, approaching them to ask Brendan for the plans for the construction of the new wall around the abbey, and informs them that the construction will resume the next day from dawn to evening bell. The brothers, together with Brendan, take the feathers to the scriptorium to give to the illuminators working there, complaining to themselves on the way about the abbot's obsession with the construction of the walls, which he believes will protect him from invaders. There they reminisce about what it would be like to have a true master illuminator to teach them and guide them to make sacred books, as books are important tools for the transfer of knowledge for the next generation. They go on to tell and mesmerize the young Brendan by sharing how they wish to have a true master illuminator like Brother Aidan, who lives in the abbey on the island of Iona, working on the most magnificent 200-year-old book called the Book of Iona, which was started by St. Columkill. When Brendan snaps out of his daydream, he realizes that he still hadn't delivered the plans to his uncle, and he rushes out of the tower with it to find the abbot disappointed for the delay and stressing about the need to complete the wall as soon as possible so they can protect themselves from the North invaders before it was too late, like the island of Iona. The next day, the brothers of the Abbey of Kells are excited to see their prayer answered by the unexpected arrival of the Master Illuminator, Brother Aidan, as he came to Kells accompanied by his white cat, with heterochromatic blue and green eyes, named Pangerban, after escaping the invasion of the Northmen in Iona, rescuing the precious book just in time. After exchanging greetings and a few chit-chats, the abbot disperses the crowd of brothers eagerly gathered around Brother Aidan, ordering them to go back to the wall construction, and takes Brother Aidan to show him the project. The two don't exactly see eye to eye on the concept of fortifying the compound of the abbey, as Brother Aidan insists that the wall would do little to nothing keeping the invaders out, and when they do indeed come, all one can do is run and hope to get away. Brendan overhears the brother expressing his interest to focus on completing the precious Book of Iona, and during the night, Brendan sneaks into the sanctorium, hoping to take a peek inside the book he's heard so much about, only to find it guarded by Pangerban, whom he convinces that he doesn't mean any harm to the book and just wants to see a single page. As Pangerban moves out of his way to let him see the book, Brendan was too shocked to see Brother Aidan walk in, but to his surprise, the brother encourages and emboldens him to take a look, opening to an empty, soon-to-be-called Shy Rio page, and explains with enthusiasm how beautiful it's going to be, which helps him recruit the excited Brendan to help him finish it. The first order in attempting this task is finding oak tree berries from the forest outside the abbey, which make the deepest emerald green ink. Brendan is conflicted to attempt this as he has never been outside the walls of the abbey and knows that the abbot would not be okay with him leaving the compound, fearing for his safety. His sheer excitement to aid work on the book wins, and he decides to go to the forest to find oak berries on his own and surprises Brother Aidan, hoping to be back before anyone notices he's missing. The next morning, Brendan covertly slips out of the abbey, followed by Pangerban, and walks into the vast forest. Unbeknownst to him, he's being watched as he gets deeper into the forest, and realizing that he doesn't even know what an oak tree looks like, and spooked by the eerie silence frequently interrupted by creaks and squeaks, he decides to head back but couldn't find his way out of the forest. As he looks around to find clues that could direct him to the right path back to the abbey, a pack of angry wolves surround him, terrifying him but are seemingly scared away and scattered at the arrival of their leader, a white wolf who turns out to be a shape-shifting fairy named Ashlang. Ashlang asks him to leave her forest at once, but they end up bonding over the fact that neither of them has any family, and she agrees to help him find the oak berries if he promises to never return to her forest again.
Wait, hold on. Did you subscribe to our channel? Come on guys, you're here, you're watching the video. Help us out by hitting the subscribe button, as it really helps out me and my team to make more videos for you guys. And now, let's get back to the recap.
She then shows him around the forest, and they play around in the beautiful nature, and a visibly beautiful friendship forms. She then takes him to the oak tree where he climbs the giant tree to collect the berries, and once he was finished with that, Ashlang advises Brendan and Pangerban to head back as it's getting late, but Brendan hears some noise from a dark cave and goes to explore it. Ashlang is terrified to see him enter the cave of the Dark One, Chrome Crook, and runs over to warn him of going any further in the place of pain and suffering. But he insists that it's all a fable and proceeds, and an angry creature starts coming toward them at the repeated mention of its name. Ashlang runs and closes the tomb inside the cave on the creature, safely keeping it on the other side. Ashlang then walks Brendan and Pangraban out of the forest and tells them that they can visit anytime they liked. Brendan sneaks into the abbey and rushes into the sanctorium to announce his achievement with the oakberries, only to find the abbot, Brother Aidan, and the rest of the brothers working to rearrange the room. The abbot takes him aside and scolds him for disappointing him by disobeying his orders and forbids him to never leave the abbey again without his permission. Later that night, Brendan gives the oakberries to Brother Aidan, who shows him how to make ink and encourages him to attempt drawing. Meanwhile, outside the abbey, the Northmen have gotten to the villages, torturing villagers and burning their property, which forces the people to flee to the abbey. Back at the abbey, Brother Aidan keeps encouraging Brendan and confides in him that he can no longer manage to do the Shiro page as he has aged and his hands are now unsteady, urging Brendan to do the page despite Brendan's emphatic resistance and fear of ruining it. Seeing his potential, Brother Aidan starts training Brendan to become an illuminator, and once he feels that he's ready, the brother decides to show him the Great Column Kill's secret, a crystal known as Column Kill's Eye, which enables the holder to have a clear vision and understanding to draw, but he's horrified to realize that he lost it while escaping the Northmen at Iona. Brother Aidan is sad by this realization and tells Brendan that there's no replacing the crystal unless one goes exploring the dark dwellings of Cramcrook, which is too dangerous to be possible. Despite this fact, the eager Brendan decides to leave the abbey to find the crystal on his own, but ends up running into his uncle the abbot as he secretly tries to sneak out. The abbot forbids him from leaving the abbey once again, but Brendan argues that he needs to do this no matter what, and the abbot then locks him down in the tower until he comes to his senses. Frustrated with the situation, the abbot then tells Brother Aidan that the only way he could keep his precious book is if he promises to leave with the first thaw of spring. Pangraban goes into the forest and informs Ashlang about Brendan's situation, and Ashlang comes over to the tower and sings a song that enables the cat to shapeshift and steal the key from the abbot unseen and free Brendan. Brendan and Ashlang then go into the forest, and Brendan tells her about the crystal. She warns and advises him to stay away from the dark cave, telling him that Cramcrook is too dangerous and that he was the one that took away her family. When he insists that this is the only way the book can be completed, she relents and decides to help him. They then go to the cave and she helps him enter it, and once inside, he manages to win the crystal after some fierce fighting, leaving Cramcrook to disintegrate. He walks out of the cave to find the forest ridden of the dark ambiance that it had, and he then takes the precious crystal to Brother Aidan and continues training. The abbot keeps working on the wall, while Brendan, having escaped from the tower, trains with Brother Aidan during the day and secretly returns to the tower at night with the aid of the brothers. One day, an injured villager rushes to the abbey and informs the abbot of the impending doom as the Northmen are getting closer. As the abbot goes to the scriptorium to warn the brothers, he is furious to find Brendan drawing rips of the illustration that he had been working on all along. He informs the rest of the brothers that they only have one day before the Vikings attack Kells, and despite their urging to start their escape, he orders the brothers to stay and lead the new refugees to the chapel so they can seek comfort there until the attackers move on. He also adds that they should tell the villagers to stay in their huts, and then locks Brother Aidan and Brendan in the scriptorium and leaves, taking the rest of the brothers with him. The Vikings arrive and try to knock the walls down, causing mayhem and terror. While trying to calm everything and everyone, the abbot is hit and injured by a flaming arrow launched from the outside. As the Vikings manage to break open the door, the abbot tells the brothers to open the tower and let everybody inside. They do that, but soon the tower gets filled to maximum capacity, and the stairs leading to the tower doors fall apart and start burning due to the flaming arrows, which forces the brothers to close the tower door, leaving the abbot and the rest of the villagers outside. Then, as the abbot runs to the scriptorium to open the door to free Brendan and Brother Aidan, who are desperately trying to open the door from inside, he is stabbed and severely injured. Inside the scriptorium, Brendan and Brother Aidan pause their panicked attempts to escape and decide to make some ink. As the Vikings break the door in, they run out through the back door to see the abbot lying on the ground, injured, but they are forced to keep running as there was absolutely nothing that they could do to help him. They then go to the forest through the secret passage Brendan had found, and as they continue running, a Viking catches Brother Aidan and rips the pages of the precious book and its bejeweled cover. Then, as they proceed to attack them, Ashlang comes to their rescue in the form of a wolf, followed by her pack, and attacks the Vikings and frees them. They then collect pieces of the book and escape. Back at the abbey, the brothers rescue the abbot and try to nurse him back to health, and Brendan and Brother Aidan continue their journey, working on the precious book for many years to come. Brendan grows up to be a fine young man, and the aging Brother Aidan tells Brendan to take the book to its people so it could give them hope in difficult times, and he obeys. Brendan, together with Pangraban, goes back to the abbey, where he spent most of his boyhood, through the forest as Ashlang watches on and leads him. Believing that he was dead, the aging abbot had been in anguish over his nephew all these years and was ecstatic to have him visit, and the abbot apologizes for standing in his way and Brother Aidan's and shows him the only remaining piece of the book from the page that he ripped. Brendan then comforts his uncle and shows him the completed book, now called the Book of Kells. And that is how the movie comes to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed the recap. Make sure to leave me a like, leave a comment, also subscribe to my channel. I love you guys so much and I promise to see you on my next recap. Bye.